of yesteryear. Now, on 18th of Nisan, Yud Chet Nisan, marks the Hilula of a very famous rabbi from Spain. His name was Rabbi Meir Abulafia Z'tl. He was actually born in the English year 1170 in Burgos, of all places, and he passed away in the year 1244 in Toledo, in Spain. He was known from his acronym as a Rama, one of the famous rabbis at this time. He was a Talmudist, a great expert within regards to the Gemara, and halachic authority in medieval Spain. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, as we said before, he was known as a Rama, respectively. He was a scion, let's say, of a wealthy and scholarly family over there, the son of a famous man, Rav Todros ben Yehuda, to whom the physician, Rav Judah ben Isaac, dedicated his poem, The Conflict of Wisdom and Wealth, which I believe was published in the year 1214. Now, when Rabbi Meir, I believe, was in his 30s at that stage of time, he was already appointed as one of the 3 appointed rabbis to the Toledo Bet Din. It's interesting, one of the other 2 of the Roshei Bet Din, head of Bet Dins of this point in time, was Rav Yosef ibn Magisha's son, Rav Meir. And the Spanish kings gave the Jewish people, let's just say it was a period of more self-rule. Rabbi Abulafia that played a substantial role in establishing of ritual regulations for Spanish Jewry at that point in time. He was also the head of various yeshivot in Toledo. At that point in time, it was like a bastion and a galaxy of Torah over there. He was so highly esteemed in Toledo that on his father's death in 1225, the latter's honorary title of Nasi, president, was then applied to him. What a great honor that would have been. He was well known. Let's say there was a robust discussion at the time within regards to the various different the Maimonidean book of the Mishnah Torah, and while the Rambam, let's say Maimonides, was still alive at that point in time, there was a lot of discussion within regards to these different books, and also the Rambam's guide for the perplexed. Interesting, Rabbi Abulafia was, let's say, opposed more to the study of philosophy as a whole, but I would recommend everyone to check about that specific era, that specific period in of itself with regards to this specific robust debate between the great rabbis of that era. He was a prolific author also. He wrote a huge book on the novel of the Talmud, and this was actually, I think, entitled the Peratin, as we say in English, the detail of only part Mesechet Gittin also respectively, each of which are known as the At Rama, the upraised hand, the play on acronym of the Rama respectively. It's actually interesting. The Rama discussed every minute detail of each topic, whether, let's say, directly related or only peripheral, arising in the course of Talmudic discussion, generally he included a summary of, let's say, the main points at the end of the discussion. He wrote it in Talmudic Aramaic, sometimes obviously will be made more difficult to understand. His work had great influence on other great rabbis, including Rav Asher ben Yechiel, who in turn will influence his son. Rabbis, including Rav Asher ben Yechiel, who in turn will influence his son. He wrote also an authoritative book of regulations about Torah writing called Masoret Siyag LaTorah, another great rabbi. He interesting, a famous poem also, A Letter from the Grave, and it's famous when she passed away on the Shabbat on the 10th of 1212. But he himself, Rabbi Meir Abulafia, passed away on the 18th of Nisan in the year 1244, one of the great rabbis of his time, a rabbi we spoke about on various occasions. Remember, the Abulafia family was a famous, let's say, rabbinic dynasty of its time in medieval Spain, and much more can be said within regards to it. There's actually an interesting family tree. He descended, I believe, from Rabbi Yehuda Abulafia Halevi, then Todros of Toledo, the great rabbi, and then Rabbi Meir, I believe, who passed away in 1244. He would also have a descendant, I believe, of the name Rabbi Moses. Interesting enough, and the line will go on. descends from Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Solomon, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yosef. You know, it's a very, let's just say, great rabbinic family, the Abolafia family. And remember, if we, I'd love to see a family tree of the Abolafia family, but many rabbis from the Abolafia family name would later on, hundreds of years later, become famous rabbis, especially Rishon LeZion, chief rabbis of Jerusalem and Israel, and Rosh Yeshivot, especially the famous Kabbalistic yeshiva called the Yeshivat Bet El, which is currently based inside the old city of Jerusalem. So it's arguably one of the most famous rabbinic families in Jewish history, the family of the Abolafia rabbinic dynasty. We've already spoken about, maybe about in the series 6 or 7 great Chachamim that had the family name Abulafia, which were titled as Rabbi Abulafia also. So I'd love to see a family tree. Now friends, we're a community over here. We're learning about the great Oriental Spanish rabbis of yesteryear, Northern African rabbis of yesteryear. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. If you descend from any of these great Chachamim, any of the great Chachamim we're speaking about, please let me know. I would love to hear more. If anyone's interested in watching these series of videos, share all these videos to other people. And very important to learn about the great rabbis of yesteryear and give them honor, especially to celebrate their Hilula and do a Sudat mitzvah, a Sudat feast, a special meal in the great rabbis' memory, respectively, and learn all about their teachings and writings, especially for this next generation, where, you know, always learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear will always bring about new wisdom and new, let's say, yearnings for extra Torah. So wish you all well, take care, and Shabbat Tov.